So I found another camera, and I will promise that in my little 6-minute Dharma talks, there won't be any dogma, but there will be catma, and that's Looney, and he's snoozing. He doesn't find my Dharma talks terribly interesting because he's already enlightened. Anyway, I wanted to challenge us this week with a topic. And again, I'm not here to convince or to cajole anyone, but to exercise and challenge what it is that we think so that we can think better and experience better if we're interested. Anyway, I was talking to a friend of mine over the weekend, a good long buddy of mine, and we're talking about everything that friends talking about, and rock and roll bands, and he's a guitar player talking about when this guy was in his prime and this guy was in his prime at this point, and this word kept coming up, prime, and it just made me realize when was my prime, and it made me want to ask other people. It's like, are you in your prime? Are you in the prime of life? And it really made me realize at depth that if I were to answer in any other way than to say that right now is the prime of my life, I would be doing myself a really serious disservice. And yet it's so unlike the way the world at large thinks. Most people, I don't know, if you once you've reached a particular age, whatever that age might be, there might be a tendency to look back and say, well, that was the prime of my life. But if we were to declare that, we would be assigning ourselves a particular restriction or limitation over what's available. And it would be a perfectly self-consigned and self-restriction that we would impose upon ourselves. So this week, the challenge is, you might ask yourself a few times today, when was the prime of my life? And I know for a lot of us, based on appearances, my prime was when I looked a particular way, or when I ran the fastest, or when I played the musical instrument the best, or when my business was, or when I had the kids, or when I got married, or that time that I got married again, or the time that I got married again. There's just this tendency to look into the past and to somehow feel that the prime was behind us. Now, if you're a spiritual being, and if we're spiritual creatures, spiritual entities living a temporary material experience, there is absolutely no reason that this present moment should be or is anything other than the prime of existence, because at this phase of our existence, we're at the leading edge of an astonishing volume of experiences, wisdom, insight, trials, tragedies, tribulations, understandings, meditations, increase that in this very moment could deliver to us the prime experience. And by that, I don't mean maybe we won't run as fast as we used to, maybe we won't jump over walls like we used to, but in terms of the quality of our experience, I'm defining prime as the quality of our present moment experience, in terms of having this very day be the most thrilling adventure, the highest good, the most elevating experience of being that is available to us. And I think to do anything else is to some degree a spiritual disservice to ourselves. And I know I'm challenging us with this, but it's something to think about. And I'm going to practice it all week long, because sometimes I do engage in what I call sentimentality or reminiscing. And I believe being sentimental or reminiscing, although there's some value to it to some degree, it's a form of spiritual degradation, and it's not the best that we can do. So this week we might examine, am I in my prime? If I'm not, what's preventing that? And how can I begin to remember and understand that right now in this very moment, that I, as a possessor of consciousness, the greatest gift in the universe, can begin to open and avail that to the greatest experience I've ever known. Because in 5 years, I'm going to be in my prime. In 10 years, I'm going to be in my prime. In 500 years, I'm going to be in my prime. And that's going to continue ever upward, because I'm a spiritual being. And so are you. Anyway, we'll talk about it all week. Have a great day.